All right, y'all. Don't know if this will work. But either way, we're going to celebrate together because, my friends, we're back on Saturday. Yeah, let's go. Okay. All right, come on. There it is. Hey. All right. Okay. There we go. There you are. Welcome in, everybody. How y'all doing? Where's the camera? There it is. Good to see you. I don't know if I'm coming through audibly, so let me know if there's a problem here. Everything, my friends, everything is... It's that kind of experience. We're not moved. We're back into the Turkish place and kind of gotten things up and running. As you can see, we are live, but there are a couple little hiccups that we're working through. You probably can see on my screen here. My Stream Deck's not even working. I don't know why. As you can see on my screen here, my computer's barely running. We'll explain that in a second. But also, my microphone is coming through a different connection. You see this white cord here is micro USB instead of XLR. So I'm not getting any of my sound through my normal audio setup, which means, yeah, you guys can't hear any of my sound effects. That's why the introduction wasn't that happy today. Doesn't matter though. We're still happy. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for being here in chat. Notification Gang, Maverick, Valis, AAK, Bastin, Zero, all dancing over on Twitch. Getting the dances back in. It's been too long, friends. I was missing the stream. I missed it. It's been an actually crazy week for us. I've got stories for you. I've got weird... I've got stories for you. We've got weird car rental situations. We've got babies crying on planes. You got a driver who's disobeying Google Maps. Some doctor referred to me as derogatory racist term. The person working at the house freaking passed out on the floor this morning. It's been actually insane. So, cut me a little slack if I seem a little scattered today. We're also jet lagged, so it's currently 17, I think, right now. Yeah, it's 7:18 right now, and starting to get tired around like 3:30, 4 p.m. It feels like it's almost the end of of a streamathon right now. Nonetheless, a monthly report came out on Wednesday for Star Citizen, and I skimmed it, and it's looking pretty good. So I figured we cannot wait any longer. I'm already behind the times. We're already late. Let us take a look at this new monthly report and see what kind of new stuff they're doing in Star Citizen. Features, core gameplay, art, ships, AI, whatever it might be. First... it's story time. Bob, welcome into the chat, buddy. Good to see you. YouTube, how you guys doing? Tricky Business, Pedro. Thank you, Pedro, by the way, for becoming a potato. We don't have our Toes Gang board up in this studio yet, but we're going to get it up because Toes Gang matters. And we actually keep track of what's up there. So we'll have that up. But honestly, thank you for becoming a potato over there. That gets you access to the exclusive streams. You'll get your referral code added to our randomizer. Obviously, the exclusive videos, podcast access, all the goods, my friend. Thanks for supporting us. George and Shifty over on YouTube. Good to see you. Yep, another Mike. Welcome in. Rager, how you doing? What up, man? Ender fan. Fola, classic Fola in the chat. Good to see you all here. Zombie Pig. Welcome in to you. Yui, good to see ya. Face Marine. Oh boy. So, what has happened this week so far? Well, let me explain why my computer is acting the way it is. We unfortunately had a GPU fail on us this week. So we're a little limited in terms of computers. I'm actually running this as a one PC stream right now, and it seems to be doing okay. Problem is, the one PC that can run this is running on the slowest RAM ever, because it's just kind of an extra stick of RAM I found lying around. So I'm pretty sure it's the RAM that's causing my computer to act like this. Like, I can't really do much. Look at how slow everything sort of reacts. Like, even the YouTube videos I watch are really bad. So I do think it's the RAM. I don't think it's the internet connection. So we're gonna try and figure out RAM and the GPU sometime soon. I think definitely RAM soon. We're gonna get that. GPU is another story, because GPUs in Turkey are twice their price. But that's our current situation, and that's why, until further notice, my computer might not look quite correct on the stream. All right, now that's out of the way. Task Manager agree? Not really. The Task Manager never seems to agree on anything. It's just telling me there are no problems, right? Or it tells me it's my CPU, except the CPU is a 5950X, and I'm pretty sure that's not getting overrun by a couple Chrome tabs and a OBS instance, especially because OBS is rendering through the graphics card. It's actually really funny. This computer is running on a 3090 and a 5950X. Shout out, Bassin. And it's still running how you see. Pay attention to your memory, kids, both in your head and in your computer. All right, story time before we get into the monthly report, because it's a crazy story. This morning, I'll tell you the short version. This morning, there is a woman here who is helping Honey's mom, Mrs. Tomato's mom, or just helping the house in general. Mrs. Tomato's mom broke her foot recently. Shout out to her. She's great. Love Yane. Give her your best wishes out there. Send your thoughts and prayers. She's recovering, but she can't do a lot, obviously. And it's a very public holiday right now where people are constantly coming through and visiting. So they needed additional help, and this woman was here to help. But she also wanted to leave, less than a month in. She wanted to leave to go see her sister. And instead of just quitting or something, because she wasn't able to in that short notice, she actually had a vacation coming up 3 days after what she wanted. Just needed to wait for, the cast to come off. Instead of quitting, she threw herself on the ground outside the house this morning and pretended to have a seizure and be basically unresponsive and in very, very extreme pain for the next 8 hours. And so a large majority of my time today was spent driving back and forth from the hospital, staying at the hospital, and wondering what the heck was going on. I kid you not, y'all. Everybody basically, from the paramedics who came to pick her up to the doctor in the hospital, were like, there's nothing wrong. They did an MRI, they did an X-ray, they checked for bruises, and at the end of the day, they were like, there's nothing we can find that's wrong. You need to go. And she eventually got up and walked out. And she's not going to work here anymore, obviously. But it was just it was freaking crazy. And the craziest part of it, and this is the first time this has happened during my time in Turkey. First time it's happened during Mrs. Tomato's time in Turkey as well. The doctor who we spoke to when we went to go pick her up to ask why this was all happening was like, I don't know what it could have been. There's nothing showing that she has any problems. Could it have been drugs? And Mrs. Tomato asked, where would she have gotten drugs all the way out there where the house is? And the guy actually suggested that it was because there was a black guy in the house who, or he didn't suggest, he asked, apparently there's a black guy in the house. Did he give her drugs? He didn't use the word black guy, though. He used the offensive and derogatory term, which just so that was the last time we went to the hospital. We just said, okay, we're just going to leave her there and not do any more work with you guys. It was pretty ridiculous. And not at all like Turkish people. The guy wasn't Turkish. The guy was from Iran. I have never had a problem with Turkish people when it comes to race. That was freaking weird. But that was my day. And that's why we are now going to talk about fun space game stuff, because like real world's kind of crappy sometimes. I mean, it's not about whether or not black people are dealers. It's about not knowing what a problem might be and assuming. I don't have to explain it actually. I don't need to be careful, dude. It's not I'm in more danger and when I go back home. Mainly just ignorance, if anything. No, yeah, the doctor wasn't Turkish. Oh, hey. Oh, I was looking for this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, people are weird, y'all. Who would have thought? Oh, AAK. Even I don't have a. Hello, Chris. Yeah, I don't have a whiteboard right now, but I got a guy here, AAK. Just gifted 5 subs, dude. Yeah. No, he doesn't want a ship. He doesn't want the ironclad. No. Just give him beacons. Yeah, just make medical beacons work. Soon? All right, I'll let him know. All right, man. Hey, my man, AAK, thank you for the subs, dude. You apparently got medical beacons back on the roster. He said they'll be here at some point. Congratulations. Sorry, Captain. Crappy experience. For what it's worth, my wife is part Iranian, and they are usually pretty welcoming. Oh, I bet, dude. I mean, nobody should ever assume one person's activities are gonna reflect all the other people's. That's a dark road, my friends. We don't like that road. You know what word we do like, though? The ones that don't exist in Star Citizen. Haha, zinger. Boom. That was a... Sorry. We're here to talk about the monthly report, folks. Welcome in. It is another month, and I know I'm a little bit late on this one. We were just traveling from California to Turkey. We're here, as you can see. We're in the studio, the Turkey studio, but we've got computer problems and stuff. So if you notice things are not performing correctly and it's more laggy than usual, that's just because we're running on the slowest possible RAM you can find out there these days. We'll get around to it at some point. But thanks for coming in. Hope you get some good info from this. We're going to go into deep detail about all the behind the scenes sort of updates going on in Star Citizen that aren't really in your weekly videos or your patch notes or anything like that. This is a lot of the feature work that's coming later in the year or next year or 5 years down the line, rather than the stuff coming in the next patch. But it's also that. Anyways, as always, we're going to start off with level 1 times 14. What does that mean? Hold on, that's a new Twitch notification. I've never seen that before. Thank you for throwing in the 70 bits. I have no idea what that means. Is that a heart? Okay. Appreciate you, one person. It doesn't even tell me the name. Weird. Anyways, we always start with AI content, which is generally the most advanced work going on with AI, the stuff that's actually going to lead into things to do in the game. To begin, AI content continued to support Star Citizen's monthly release cadence, one that has made a lot of people happy, a lot of people annoyed. It was exciting to see the comms calls start to make their way into the game, as well as finally unveiling the news flash content around the landing zones. These little updates will help provide players updates about the events happening around the verse. MobiGlas 2, please win. Oh, is that you, Maverick? Why 70 and not 69 bits, huh? What happened? Most people are Fola. Most people are not Fola. I'm sorry. Fola. Fola just dropped the RAM fund. Dude, that's like the whole RAM fund. Can you guys all say thank you to Fola because he just single-handedly, I think, not single-handedly, actually, it's all the people, it's all the folks. But he just, that'll, we can get RAM for that, I think. As long as Turkey's not tariffing the crap out of the imports still. Thank you so much, Fola. Serious Toes Gang energy, always here helping out the channel. Dude, the freaking terrorists here are wild. Did you guys know that Discord's still blocked here too? It's just a whole yikes situation. Yeah, seriously. Give him a shout. Give Fola a shout for that one. All right, as they continue to develop these features, that is the comms calls they're talking about here, the devs requested additional functionality to allow for new features such as scheduling, as well as scope out work to make things like channels. I can help you guys with that. Discord's got those. Hey, Maverick, there's the 69 bits. You know how it is. Making heads turn for sure. Blasting, stream out your car. I bet people love that. Super appreciative. Thanks. We were missing Space Tomato today. Stream bitrate is good in this scene. I bet you if I switch over to... Yeah, you can still see the lag, kind of. You can see it the worst on the homepage for Star Citizen. This video in the background plays terribly. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's not supposed to look like that. Okay, on larger scale initiatives, AI content team worked alongside combat AI to devise a new collection of wildline triggers for combatants and how they could or whether they should plug into the proposed line set for generic population NPCs. The team also reviewed and standardized the trigger list used by behaviors across the game to ensure that there's a single list of context words that everyone is operating with. This will prevent confusion when building behaviors or structuring missions. These kinds of things are the real buttoning up the, I don't know what the freaking term is, buttoning up something. Buttoning up the shirt kind of moves as they hopefully leave behind the more ragtag kind of all over the place development style for stuff that's more systemic like this, that the whole company can get behind and understand exactly what's going on. Moving on to AI features. In May, AI features ensured human combat is in an optimal state in several key areas. This includes ammo management and behavior, cover usage, first reactions and perception, attack and defend areas, investigations, grenade use, tactics, and medical behavior. The main focus is to stabilize and reach gold standards for each of these things. That's a pretty decent amount of things to rely on AI to do. Ammo management behavior, that includes reloading and stuff like that. Cover usage. Not sure. It'd be interesting to know if this includes anything about Maelstrom or if this is just for static cover. First reactions and perception, we've heard plenty of stuff about this. Attack and defend areas, we've also heard about that. Investigations. All of this is stuff that we have been seeing on monthly reports for probably the last 2 years in the AI sections as they've been working on them. And you can also find plenty of videos that they've published that go into details on these kinds of things. Going back to Star Citizen or CitizenCon 2023, you'll see a little bit of AI development stuff in the back here. They talk about the kind of classes.
To a different type of fun.
Slow. A different type of fun, you know? They're talking about the different classes that... Come on. YouTube. Different types of classes that AI can take. The way that they work when they're under fire, blind firing, shooter token, ignore fire, obstruction, aggressive, cautious. And then you can see the way that this plays out as well. So a lot of this is like... It'll show how healing works between NPCs. Just one behavior. Love the way this guy cheers when he gets up. He's so hyped. Searching behaviors, avoiding dangerous locations and hazards, grenades, stuff like that. This is all stuff that they have been developing over time, and now in this monthly report, they're simply talking about getting up to a gold standard that I guess works for the game. Probably not our 1.0 kind of standard, but definitely, or not definitely, sounds like something that could be representative of the AI they want in the medium term. Good to hear. I still feel like there's a lot of variety we could see from FPS AI, though. They need some work. Catch Up Gamer, thank you so much for 19 months subbed on the Prime on Twitch, dude. Appreciate you. Prime subs go a long way, you know? All right, so in pursuit of the above we talked about here, various issues were fixed across AI, including NPCs looting ammo too close to hostiles, NPC handling light switch disruption, and first reactions triggering simultaneously and putting the AI into an unresponsive state. A bug was also fixed that caused NPCs to incorrectly count ammo and evaluate remaining resources, causing them to loot more than necessary. BS! NPCs never have the ammo on them I need. They'll be using the same gun as me. I shoot them dead. I go over, I get their ammo. Dust particles. They carry nothing in their pockets. Various improvements were made too, including how NPCs select and use cover for shooting. They also made it easier to add new information to the all-weapon component debug and improve the investigate flow to work better over a range of conditions with multiple NPCs at different awareness levels. The devs also customized the friendly fire check so that it can be balanced to give NPCs the desired behavior and prevent them from shooting when players feel they shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of funny when NPCs shoot each other. Very NPC behavior. I hate this part of this song, man. Why is AI so hard to build? They've been at it for years. You know, I don't know. I could come up with something like server meshing or the complex interactions that they have to come up with. Genuinely, I don't know. I've wondered the same thing. We've seen so much talk about the AI, and while they've definitely improved, still just waiting for it to meet the level that these monthly reports make it feel like it would. Maybe it will in Squadron. Hey, Throbbing. How you doing, friend? How's Turkey? Send some rose water. How about Turkish Delight? You like the rose water Turkish Delight? It's been pretty crazy over here so far, Throbbing. I mean, it's beautiful. Great times. We're happy to be back at this place. It's a good joy. Oh, but you missed a crazy story. Freaking... It's been weird. Having two different NPC factions fighting each other and you being in the middle of that is always a fun thing in games. Yeah, it is. I love dragging them into each other and setting them on each other. Oh, you're a spider? Check it out. I've got a pirate over here. I mean, it's a giant spider. Pirates aren't just casually fighting with small arachnids that you could just crush under your foot. They're big spiders. But I make them fight each other. Like Hogwarts Legacy or something. Yeah, they've got a lot of talks about AI, but I don't think anybody has ever like said, hey, our AI is not good right now, and here's why. No. Elzendale, how's it going? Good to see you in chat. All right. Continuing on with AI features, the Wildline setup channel was updated to enable the devs to mute and suppress already queued lines after the death of an NPC. So you no longer have dead bodies saying, you shouldn't have come here. Shut up. Totally should have come here. Defend area and combat movement queries were also updated to ensure NPCs don't get stuck in spawn closets, a favorite of NPCs. For example, if too many NPCs are set to enter a 3x6 meter area, they will get stuck. Sounds like they just don't want to go to prison. New tech and features were implemented too, including logic to prevent low to medium priority wild lines from triggering during track view sequences that NPCs are involved in. So like during more cinematic setups, kind of. Logic was also added for switching the aim target location to the visible element of the body while considering aiming priority, as in torso, then head. AI features also finished work to ensure NPCs animatedly react to compromised cover, cleaning up the NPC medic flow to make it more robust and improve the visuals, adding additional debugging to balance first reaction times for audio and visual events, and adding trait debugging to prevent conflicting behavior traits. NPCs reacting to cover. I think we saw that in this most recent CitizenCon. I want to say it was in Brave New Worlds. So here they were showing.
We'll see two
I don't even have to say, he'll tell you what we're seeing.
main elements. The graph on the top left and the two colorful cones. The graph on the left basically represents the current light level the NPC is in and the current multiplier this light level generates to speed up or slow down the NPC perception and understanding. The two cones instead represents the primary and secondary FOV. The red color means that if you stand in that location, it will result in NPC reacting the slowest to you, and the green color instead represents the quickest response. So during the night, NPC will have a hard time to understand and foresee and see things, but if they have flashlights on their helmets, they can turn it on, and this will impact their primary FOV, making still the peripheral vision a bit more uncertain. And as you see here, first of all, the NPC is patrolling with his domesticated friendly copion. This is because he wants to exploit the vision, the night vision capabilities of the animal, and it's kind of our tier 0 pets. So we will now look at
So yeah, that's, oh, wait, okay, I'm sorry. I'm so confused by my audio setup. So that's kind of a little bit of perception stuff going on there. But they also have the cover
system. That is the next dynamic things that I want to show you. So when we introduced planetary navigation mesh the first time, our goal was really to create a systems that would support and process the environment in a very dynamic way. Our planets are just way too big to statically export them and process them, first of all. And then their regions only exist when somebody's there. Boulders, rock, walls, and are all useful elements right now. However, we don't have to limit ourselves to static geometries, but also vehicles can be used for cover. And as you can see, this is dynamically generating while the vehicle moves. So
I love, you can tell that vehicle was just on tracks because it's not even going straight like the wheels would be. But yeah, a little bit of some small updates on the AI from last CitizenCon. You can tell that this stuff has been consistent. It's hard to forget, or it's easy to forget about those small updates, though. Gotta say, nice to have you back in our time zone nostalgic summer vibes with the European backdrop view. Just wait for the cooking streams again, my friend. We are so excited to set a camera back up over there for the sunsets. Can't wait. But yeah, it's cool to be back. For anybody who enjoys these streams and likes to hang out, thank you. We appreciate that. The stream will be starting probably like 2 hours earlier than it normally does. So today was a little bit of an exception because I was doing the podcast, but we will be starting at 7 a.m. PST for the summer as opposed to 9 a.m. PST. So keep an eye out for us coming on a little bit earlier. All right, continuing, logic was added for, nope, we read that. Finally, a fix was added for placed dead bodies to prevent them from causing the AI to react when, from a story perspective, they already exist in the world. So there's like, they're just dead body props laying around a a crash site, and then one of the survivors on the crash site is walking around getting constantly surprised over and over by the dead body that they already knew about. AI in Star Citizen will be creepily good in a few years. You're all here for it. I hope so. Hope you're right. Finally, for AI features, the team added audio proc clips to take down animations so that nearby AI are alerted. They also added debug logging to disturbance events to prevent AI from reacting before the level has started properly. Wow, so they just added a little bit of audio to takedowns, right? Knife sounds, bodies getting thrown, hitting the floor, knives, more knives, another knife real quick just in the neck. Yeah. That stuff makes noises so you can't just assassinate somebody and get away with it. What do I think of the new ship keys yesterday? Not gonna lie, man. Like I said, I'm behind the times. I have not really gotten to see much Star Citizen stuff over the last few days, so I didn't know there was a new ship tease. Okay, moving on to the AI game intelligence development team. A little bit of R&D on the AI side. In May, the game intelligence development team began work on the UI prototype for Mission System V2. Specifically the outline header design, including the mission object properties design, the outline infrastructure, and a generic outline panel. This also involved creating UI visuals for the outline with all its components. Alongside this, the team also fixed small bugs and worked on features requested by the game designers to improve StarScript. We don't know too much about what this is going to look like. There are several different apps that they need to remake from the MobiGlas, and they're first waiting for the 3D building blocks and building blocks situation to come in. But they were also waiting for just, I think, the game to catch up and have the gameplay and the details that necessitated redoing the apps finally. So here I've got for you, it's not really loading, like, man, my computer is just messed up, guys. There we go. I just had to put it on this screen and then it would load. All right, so somewhere in here, I do have a quick clip of the Squadron 42 MobiGlas, which does give some insight into what we might see in our own redesigns. What's the new ship tease? Probably the Prowler again. Here we are. Oh, dude. Tricky. Bro. Thank you, man. Tricky business with an absolute massive super chat. You and Fola definitely making the RAM a possibility. I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Much love to you. You keep this stuff alive. So the MobiGlas is like the messages app that we saw at one point. It's easy to forget that the MobiGlas, while the main thing got redesigned, they didn't actually do all the other apps. So they still got to go through and add in all this kind of stuff. But you can see here, like, they've got messages, a full message readout. They got ship chat here on the side. Maybe you can customize that more in Star Citizen. But then here is a more of like a mission briefing kind of page. You got these sections, progress briefing, and after action reports. So this is like your objectives. This is like the overall look. After action reports, probably just where everything goes after you finished it, and you can see like what you did. ultimately, this definitely looks more like a single player focused kind of contract manager. So I don't think this is what it'll exactly look like. But we are getting some design elements and considerations from this. Can you play Star Citizen using a 60% keyboard? You're gonna miss out on a couple things, like a lot of controls around the third-person camera. But yeah, I think you can do it. It changed again with last CitizenCon. I don't know if they showed the mission manager at CitizenCon last year. They just showed the social apps, I believe. Y'all on YouTube, make sure to give Tricky Business a thanks too, and a little thumbs up for being an absolute real one. All right, continuing on. AI tech. This is the more experimental stuff of AI, but also it's pretty interesting stuff, usually. Last month, AI tech continued to improve how navigation links connect to external zones. So this is like when an NPC is going to walk out of an outpost door, they're going into an external zone. The team are currently updating links that are utilizing motion warp, such as mantling or jumping down, to rely on specific metrics, which will enable them to utilize by different categories of creatures. First time I ever saw them talk about this was CitizenCon 2016 or 2017, I believe. And some of it is inverse kinematics, I believe, to detect this stuff. Some of it is a little bit of ray casting. But essentially, this just lets them take an animation for like vaulting or mantling over something and stretch it out so it fits the actual distance of the thing you're going over. It's cool tech. Not like novel, but cool. Updates were also made to the chase movement request to allow multiple destinations around bigger targets like ground vehicles or apex creatures. Interesting, like as an objective. Oh, chase for the AI. The first stage of ongoing improvements to 3D navigation was completed. This involved voxelizing custom areas and allowing them to define granularity. Currently, the voxelization data is being used to improve collision avoidance during AI ship flight. This will definitely help with AI EVAing. The core work for serializing subsumption variables was completed, which is used for network synchronization and the save and load mechanism. Serialized variables is that's an old one. I want to say that's something that they updated in 3.0. I believe what it does is it allows them to make references to objects and give them characteristics that apply to whatever that object is. But I think we can also have Chris Roberts and Aaron Roberts explain it to us themselves.
It'd be nice to see people hauling something other than Big Benny's vending machines and unsuspecting.
What are serialized variables, guys?
As great as all those videos were, the team has worked hard to give you a proper mechanic for the 3.0 release.
Yeah, cargo is just one of the many important features we're currently working on. A lot of them, like cargo and, say, derelict ships, will be easy to see, while others, like serialized variables, aren't as visible but are just as critical to the game.
He said it.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely definitely as critical to the game.
Oh, let me turn up the volume for a bit for you guys.
Because when you're attempting to build a game as large and complex as Star Citizen, it's essential to come up with a new way to streamline the data being transferred between the server and the clients.
And so here to explain exactly how serialized variables will improve our networking capabilities, and of course, most importantly, your Star Citizen experience, let's hear from lead network programmer Clive Johnson.
So this is definitely a network kind of thing. Clive Johnson is also, from what I've understood, one of the crucial genius brains behind getting server meshing working. I think he leads the server meshing team at this point. But the fact that they're doing more to make serialized variables more common in the game can hopefully mean that it's just more network optimization going into it.
My name's Clive Johnson. I work for Foundry 42 UK, where I'm the lead network programmer working on Star Citizen. Today we're going to talk a little bit about serialized variables. So what are serialized variables? Well, they're not really something that you can see in the game, and ideally, if everything's working the way it should, then they're not something that you really ever need to think about. But they are the answer to a question, which I think is quite important, and that's how do you network a game like Star Citizen? One of the first times I asked myself that question was shortly after I joined the company. I think my first reaction was one of sheer terror. You know, tears, panic, and once it kind of calmed down and the tears had stopped, you do what any engineer is going to do.
That's just a perfect line for Star Citizen
First
overall.
reaction was one of sheer terror. You know, you do what any engineer is going to do when faced with an impossible problem. You try and break it down into smaller impossible problems. When trying to answer the question how we network Star Citizen, one of the first things we've got to think about is exactly who's going to do the work, who's going to network everything we have in the game. Now, Star Citizen itself is made up of thousands of different elements, and some of these are visible, like planets and ships and players and coffee cups, and others you don't see, like missions or the logic assigning out landing pads. Each of these elements is really a different type of entity, and each type might be used thousands of times throughout the game, but all the types behave in specific ways or have certain uses, and that has to be implemented in the code. And most of them need to work in both single player for Squadron 42 and multiplayer for Star Citizen. In other words, most of them have to be networked. So who's going to do the work? Well, currently we've got about 60 engineers coding different parts of the game, but we have only 6 network programmers. Half of these work in Austin on back-end services, and that includes, you know, our core online services such as matchmaking and friends and player authentication. The other half is my team here in the UK, and we focus mainly on the networking between the client and the server. So it's kind of up to us to make sure that all the entity types are correctly networked and everything's functioning the way we'd like it to in the multiplayer game. But with 60 programmers or thereabouts writing new code and making new entity types, if we've only got 3 actually making it work in multiplayer, my team needs to work about 20 times faster than anybody else. You know, we're good, but we're not that good, so clearly leaving all the networking to the network programmers is not going to work. So what we need to do is have every engineer make sure that their own code works in multiplayer. But the problem with that is that network programming is really very hard, and it can take years to learn all the different ins and outs. So we need a way to simplify it so that, you know, non-specialists can learn everything they need to do in just like a couple of hours. What we need is an API, which stands for an application programmer interface, and that's really a cushion between a programmer doing the work and the problem that they want to solve. The API
that was like one of the most random and weird pieces of B-roll I've ever seen inserted into a clip. I don't think there's been any B-roll in this entire 3-minute clip, and then they just randomly decided to put in a little explainer of API.
In just like a couple of hours. What we need is an API, which stands for an application
random
interface. And that's really a cushion between a programmer doing the work and the problem that they want to solve. The API kind of simplifies things by allowing the programmer to say exactly what it is that they want to do, but without saying how it should be done. So you can kind of think of it like driving a car. So obviously you've got your steering wheel and the pedals and, you know, other controls, gear stick, whatever. That's not how the car drives. They're just the controls that tell the car what to do. So under the hood, the driver's commands are turned into, you know, different settings for like fuel air mixture or engine timing or hydraulic pressures for brakes and power steering. And that's kind of the interface part of an application programmer interface. By building the right set of controls, you can change how the API actually works without having to change the code. So,
okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off there because I feel like we're going on and on. But I hope that explained to you serialized variables. If not, check out what the smart people in chat are saying, because I'm no closer to being able to explain it after watching that. All right, continuing on. The subsumption conversion feature, a clustering algorithm, was added to split participants into, where is my music, please? Thank you. into more meaningful groups. This group data will be used to create avoidance obstacles, meaning NPCs will be able to avoid others already in a conversion group. Good for them. On the tools side, multiple usability improvements were made to StarScript, such as allowing bulk node deletion and the discarding of invalid subplatforms when loading a platform or marking a document as modified when reordering variables. Here's those variables again. 8 variables, X and Y. Animation. The facial animation team recorded and processed content for upcoming releases for both new and existing mission givers, including Wicklow. They also continued to provide new voice packs that will populate generic NPCs throughout the verse and began supporting the recently added Newsflash content. Animations were developed for an upcoming creature too. Any guesses on what creature that might be? They haven't really done anything to be specific about what it could be. I am thinking it might be there was a cow we saw recently. I don't know what episode it was in though. New looking cow kind of thing. Buffalo, alien buffalo sort of guy. Lurch! Thanks for dropping in, friend. Welcome in, beautiful person. How you doing? Good to see you. Banana crabs. I like saying banana crabs, so I do kind of hope that's it. Aggro cow. Hopefully it's a space whale. Can we just get space whales so we don't have to ask for them anymore? Art. On the character side of things, the art section saw the character art team progress with new creatures, a heavy armor, and gameplay rewards. They also kicked off a light armor. The concept art team prepared handoff cheats and explored future in-game armor rewards. Always love to hear more armor rewards. Y'all are getting it. Oh, that's freaking Anansi. So many referrals or so many validations for this Nova Asgard giveaway. If you guys are seeing that on Twitch, by the way, on Twitch you can put more of your points towards these giveaways to get more entries, but honestly anybody can enter. If you type ! giveaway or keep an eye out for the link in the chat, click on that link. It'll show you how you can enter the giveaway. And we'll be pulling towards the end of this month, I believe, to draw a Anvil Asgard with a Nova tank, a copy of Star Citizen, and lifetime insurance for all this stuff. Check it out if you like things. There's a lot of things included in that. Given the fact that everything has to be combat these days, it just has to be sharks with +3 laser beam attached to their heads. We could use more sharks in this game. All right, I'm gonna skip art on the ship side. We're gonna come back to this at the end because we have a whole update to do with ships now. Obviously with the spreadsheet, we need to make sure we're keeping good track, and this is gonna be enough to be its own video. So if you're watching this and you're looking for the ship section, it'll probably be uploaded within a couple days or first, I don't know, but keep an eye out for that. Moving on, as we do, us beautiful people, fantastic, lovely individuals, we have come to the core gameplay update. And you guys deserve a nice, juicy session reading the core gameplay update. Here's a link to this if you'd like to check it out. It is indeed Eden Turkey right now, yes. Yeah, man, I'm hyped for this. I will be making another video for this section on the main channel to summarize the stuff we talk about here and add some context. But for now, this is your super detailed dive into core gameplay in May. Core Gameplay are currently working through a long list of weapon improvements to further modernize the FPS experience for both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, including tweaking how disruptive weapon raising is the flow of combat. Engineering and design collaborated to iterate on these improvements and provide more polished combat gameplay. Work on hacking continued. Hacking mentioned. Guys, hacking. Are you kidding me? Why even say anything about it? Okay. Is this going to be the only update we get for the next 2 years? Or will they continue? If we see another hacking update in the next monthly report, things are unfortunately still not getting real. I'm not gonna sound the alarm on that, but it is a good sign if it's showing up in the monthly report right now specifically. Because
wow.
I don't know. I can't say anything like that. I don't know. This doesn't mean it's coming anytime soon. But they are working on it. Iris. All the new stuff is cool and all, but when are they going to go back and polish the old ships? I only use like half my hanger because of broken features and bugs on the old ships. I would hope it's whenever the features get updated enough on the ships that they feel like they've found a place, but I don't know. Seems they'll probably just do it over time, slowly, but surely. Maybe not so surely. Anyways, work on hacking continued, which involved highlighting suggested abilities for certain gameplay situations. Abilities are also now disabled when they're not applicable in a specific situation to better explain hacking gameplay. Abilities are a thing with hacking now. The hacking terminal now also supports color-coded terminal output for better clarity. I think I might do a video separately about hacking where we just kind of look at the different things that they've said over the years, because there are a few references we can make. There's a concept image of a hacking tool. I probably can't find it very quickly right now, but thank you very much. Actually, here is the original hacking interface that they had come up with. Oh, wait, y'all started a... What do I even use? Y'all started a hype train on Twitch? Bruh, Robin Swing, or is it Raven Schwing? Whatever it is, I'm spiritually putting your name up on toast, gang. Thank you. Thank you for helping make this happen. Keeping the stream strong. Appreciate your support. Thank you, Necaclaus. Necaclaus for the Prime sub. I think you started that hype train. Really appreciate you. And a super chat from the Ursidae Hugist. You guys, these names got me saying words my lips are not used to spelling out. Thanks for the $2 super chat over there. And welcome in, Certified Gumbo. Could at least get a notepad. Well, I've got the history right here listed. Actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna do, because these names will go up on the whiteboard when we have it up. Take a picture. Yeah, there we go. And AAK, I believe you're on here. There we go. All right, the whiteboard will be avenged. So this was the first work in progress we saw of hacking in the game. And this model was reminiscent of Deus Ex, where it's kind of like a 3D Pac-Man almost. You're basically shooting your file through this sort of physicalized construct, and you have to avoid these counter defenses, these antiviruses. The whole idea of hacking in Star Citizen has always been you are spoofing the actual credentials of somebody else. So when they moved on from this, they moved over to a format where you would be essentially injecting blocks of code that could do different things. Now, I do believe that those blocks of code are what they are calling here abilities. These are probably like what you can think of from, say, Cyberpunk 2077, when you'd hack into something and it would show you the different things you could do. Those abilities are going to be the things you can do, and I believe they will come in the form of text blocks that you're basically just putting into the kernel or the base code. Now, there's also a picture here of a tool, a hacking tool. And this is kind of the direction that they moved in over time. The idea behind this being everything in the game will have some kind of a terminal that maintenance people are supposed to be interacting with, and this hacking tool will allow you to pretend to be one of them as long as you get the proper credentials. And this, of course, would end up being just another piece of your inventory, something that specific people would care more about carrying along with them, and other people would need to defend on to help them out in tough situations. I never asked for this. All right, where is this picture? I can never find the concept art. Nope, nope, nope. Thank you very much. Whoa, Sriro. Hold up, hold the phone, Toes Gang. Sriro just dropped 10 freaking subs, boosted that hype train up to level 2, got himself on Toes Gang. And honestly, if you guys get these subs that are getting gifted out, give a thanks. Seriously, give a shout out. You get access to all the exclusive videos on the channel. Just go to the Discord, go to supporter alerts. You have all the pings there. They will all be pinned. Explanation of Squadron 42, the 6 stages of Star Citizen, why planets should be scaled to be larger. There's multiple videos you can go check out there. So give it thanks. And maybe come check out the podcast too. Okay, I'm not seeing the hacking tool here, unfortunately, and I'm killing a lot of time looking for it. There is one though. And if you do some searches, maybe I can do a quick Google search here. If you do some searches, the picture will come up. Believe it or not, it was a sneak peek. A sneak peek way long ago, which, you know, why did you guys sneak peek it? It's nowhere near coming to the game. That's why they don't do these things anymore. But this is it. Really just showed that it had a little terminal on it. You probably tap it up to something, little NFC technology, and you bought your groceries. You want real programming? If you could write your own script, something to hack a ship or whatever, it'd be cool. Yeah, I'd tell every ship to just blow up. We have not seen the concepting of the new inventory. Or of the new hacking, to be honest. Continuing on, though, because we got a lot more core gameplay to get to. The team also wrapped up work on the new Argo Atlas ICTI and Geo ICTI, both of which support weapons instead of their utility attachments. Additional bug fixes and polish are underway, but the team is excited to further extend the Atlas platform and provide players with more options on the battlefield. How many of these do you guys think they're going to make? You think they're going to make a bunch of Atlases? Or I also am surprised. I thought the Atlas Geo was called a Geo because it was a mining Atlas. It seems like instead it's just because it's the backpack Atlas. The jump jet Atlas. That's interesting that they went with it that way. One for every game loop. But what does that mean? Is there going to be an investigation Atlas? What is an exploration Atlas? Honestly, actually, that has a nicer scanner on it, huh? You think there'll be 3 more? You see a missile salvage underwater, anti-air would be a thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options. You think there can be too many Atlases? You guys think they should try and find better diversity for these other applications, or should they specifically try to get the whole lineup with just one type of exosuit? If the ICTI retains its thrusters, what's the point of the normal one? More power to weapons, maybe? Smaller signature? I don't know. Repair Atlas could work, yeah. Honestly, what if they made an Atlas that could like do a small amount of base building stuff somehow? Don't even know how that'd work. Sriro, I can't believe you, man. Thank you so much for the 20 freaking gifted subs. That's wild. Sorry, I saw that again. Means a lot. Engineering. The best part. This is what I like to know about. For engineering, the team reviewed feedback and outstanding work before dividing the feature into smaller milestones. The first milestone primarily covers core gameplay mechanics, such as the engineering screen and its ability to manipulate power distribution and item states. Okay, that's something to know. A recent internal review provided feedback and polish that will be addressed before the feature reaches players. Okay. The diagnostic screen also received new functionality and utility. All right, let's break this down sentence by sentence. First two sentences will take as one. They're breaking this into smaller milestones. Primarily, the first cover is the core gameplay mechanics such as engineering screen and its ability to manipulate power distribution and item states. Let us go back to engineering and lay out exactly what this would include in terms of milestones. This isn't going to be completely accurate. Things always change in between the different things that they talk about.
At CitizenCon 29.
But this will give you an idea of the different segments of engineering that they feel they need to explain. Not this one. Oh boy. Here we are. Thank you guys for this hype train. Got it all the way up to level 4. Appreciate you all who took part in that over on Twitch. All right, here are all the things that they were kind of talking about for engineering back then.
Possible. So all that said, this is a really important system for Star Citizen, but let's dig into the details and see what exactly this is. Resource management can be broken down into several key elements.
Power, energy, resources, life support, item maintenance, relay handling, access control, and gravity.
So with this first launch, I think what they're focusing on is power, energy, resources, item maintenance, and relay handling. We already know this. This is power allocation through the management screen, paying attention to components and how much damage they're taking, and changing out fuses as necessary. Every single one of these things people have problems with in some regard. I'm kind of past the point of explaining why these things are helpful to the game. I think it's better for us to just get them in EPTU, try them out ourselves, and see how they interact. But the next sentence here, a recent internal review provided feedback and polish that will be addressed before the feature reaches players, kind of makes me think that we won't see this in EPTU by the end of June. I mean, maybe they get that feedback in, but that's a pretty quick turnaround. So I'm hoping that we see this in EPTU no later than July. I don't have any other reason to think it will, besides the fact that they talked about it at the recent Con 42, and seemed pretty confident it was coming into the testing at some point soon. This is really big for the game, though, and it's, as far as core gameplay goes, there's not really much that's more core than engineering, because it's not just engineering for ships, it's also engineering for power, for space stations, for outposts, for the bases that we're building, all that stuff. As part of the ongoing quality of life initiative in Star Citizen, core gameplay are working on improvements to the harvestable and loot system. This is to address various performance issues and, more importantly, give the designers more control over how harvestables and loot are spawned. For Alpha 4.1.1, the devs enabled the ability for players to quantum travel to their own vehicles, which was received positively by the community. It was, people liked this. Item recovery is currently progressing, with tasks for Tier 1 progressing. Progressing doesn't tell us much. I do like that item recovery is progressing, but that could literally be in the concept phase, you know? Let's see if I can find the thread where they talked about this. And we can look back at what item recovery tier 1 was, just as a reminder. So tier 1 will introduce the ability to register your gear in ships at kiosks or ASOP terminals. Here are the important notes. You'll get personal loadouts. Players will be able to register their equipped items, which can be reclaimed for a fee at specific kiosks or freight elevators. Interesting little thing happened yesterday, at some point. In the patch notes, come on, can we find it? Oh. All right, maybe I can't find it. You know how Reddit is. Doesn't make it hard to track these kinds of things. Here we go. Equipment swapping hierarchy. I don't know where this is from. This is just a screenshot from somewhere. But basically this is saying equipment swapping now has some hierarchy when swapping out gear using the new UI. This iteration will transfer items equipped to the outside of the armor to the newly swapped out one, but not items stored inside. So basically, if you're trading armor with an NPC and you want to equip the new armor, you'll throw the armor onto your body, and the stuff that was on your armor already will automatically go onto the new armor. This will also only work using the latest looting UI and not the old interface, so using kiosks currently behave like before. This also means that obviously not all this stuff will get stored. You still have to transfer the actual inventory stuff over. When the player is attempting to swap equipment, looting an enemy armor, then every item attached to the old armor or undersuit, such as weapons, grenades, medpens, and backpacks, should attempt to transfer to the relevant slots on the new armor or undersuit. If there is not enough space on the new armor for the items, then they should be placed within the backpack inventory. If there's not enough space in the backpack, they'll be dropped on the floor. Two things interesting here. First is just that this is going to make looting more interesting and possibly more streamlined for people. I can't imagine the glitches this will introduce, how much it'll drive people up the wall. But it's an interesting addition. The other thing this is doing, it feels like this is kind of starting to get over to loadouts for equipment and the game being able to recognize not just the stuff that's equipped to your body, but what it is also equipped besides, you know, correlating the things that you've equipped. Almost makes it feel like they're moving towards not just suit lockers, but specifically this first thing here that they're mentioning, personal loadout, which is a T1 feature, which they're also showing as progressing in the monthly report. So there might be a little bit of correlation here to things moving forward, both in the game and here on the monthly report, which is good news for feature development.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, hold on a second. I just saw 0. Wait, guys,
Thank you very much.
Wait, what are you doing? What happened just now? What is that? Ruben. Hello, Ruben. Sorry, that was overwhelming. 0 gifted out 5 subs. Raven Schwing gifted out another 5 subs. And PK dropped in with classic PK 10, dude. Thank you guys, Twitch. He's awesome. I'm gonna get another picture of Raven. He's going on Toes Gang for 10, dude. Thank you guys. Thank you for making this possible. I was actually going to put up a goal on the stream for a GPU at some point, but y'all got us already part of the way there. Thank you. Hope you're having a good day, Ruben. If it did not break something, would it be a new feature? If it didn't cause pain, would we really be progressing? Looting is still going to be yank. I really wish they would finally give up on their own version of how looting works and just do it how other games do things. Use that works instead of introducing yank it again. Dude, no, let them do what they want to do. I can't get over it. Like, we gotta let artists fail. We gotta let artists fail, or else art dies, right? Like, they need to be able to try doing something stupid that they think works for what they want to do, so that it either works or not. I get what you're saying about wanting to do things that are already discovered or like standard in the industry, but like the subtle nuances, I think they should stick to their guns. And you know, if that doesn't work, I kind of let it not work. That sucks for them. That's their fault. But I want to see them follow through. Dude. All right, you guys are... What's with all the blessings today, man? Carter just dropped a $100 super chat on YouTube. What even is this? Thank you, man. Thank you guys for making this fucking... Oh my... I don't even have the beep button today. Or else I'd be beeping constantly. Tricky business, Fola. Look what you guys started, man. At some point, the failing has to be enough and art needs to be replaced with engineering. Sure, but like, let's let them try the first version of the item recovery. We don't even have the actual item. We don't even have inventory management in the game yet. Yeah, we have some like placeholder crappy inventory, but that was built for 3.15. Drop it in, add in crafting. If it doesn't work, screw this, right? But giving us the ability to lose things and still have the chance to reclaim them if you have like the money and the forward thought process behind it, I think is a really good mechanic. I mean, Elite Dangerous does something like that too. Don't fly without rebuy, right? I feel like instead of buying items, you bought blueprints and then would craft that item instead of just being given the replacement. Bought blueprints. Yeah. And I'm guessing you can buy the blueprints. You can buy the recreation blueprint, but you can also find the item itself. I don't think you can, like, you can loot the item, but you still have to find a blueprint if you want to craft it or upgrade it. I would be more interested in hearing blueprint plans, though. They haven't been really deep about that. Last time we let artists fail, World War II happened. Jesus. They should still do what they want, but they need to look at things that have already been a success and understand why. Tarkov and DayZ are the ones that come to mind. See, I agree that. Obviously, there are ways that mechanics can work that other games have done. Like Tarkov has a great inventory. I just, in terms of the actual ideas behind this and how they want people to claim or not claim things or try to get things back and all of that, I do think that like that's an important sort of thing to try and maintain. Yeah, we're back in Turkey now. Failure is always an option. However, epic failures like 318 should never be allowed to happen again. Agreed. I agree with you there. I'm not saying keep beating your head against the wall, but they should definitely at least get to do the first iteration of what it is that they've been making us wait 12 goddamn years for them to set up before they get to that year 10. Like, imagine getting 80% of the way to making a feature and then realizing, like, somebody's like, hey, dude, I don't like where this is going. Don't do this. And instead of finishing it and trying to make sure it actually works, you just kind of scrap it. Hey, Alien. Blueprints ideas goated. Blueprints are pretty cool sounding. Shouldn't have to fight our inventory every step of the way since it took 20 minutes to equip 4 pieces of armor and 1 weapon. Changes need to be made. But that's what I'm talking about, Lurch. If we told them to change the way the inventory works right now because it takes too long, that would be ignoring the fact that they already have features planned for it to not take long. So we'd have them change the inventory, and then when those features come in, they wouldn't really be that significant. Like, we know that they want to give us the ability to one-click equip a loadout. Should they change the speed at which it takes to equip one small thing because we can't do that yet? Or should they get that done so we can see if the item management system works with that? It's kind of like how people right now are saying, just split everything up, make PvE servers. But like, we don't even know if their instance locations and their security measures and their reputation could be enough to maybe make that not have to be a thing. I think it would be a travesty to make that sort of a large decision about the philosophy of the game before they even get a chance to prove out their concepts. But your concepts can't take 15 years, right? So, tough conversation to have. I get the sentiment, though. It is annoying dealing with these things in the game right now. All right. Continuing on, ships and interiors, along with their loadouts, decorations, and locker contents, will be able to be registered in-game. They can then be claimed in the state they were previously registered at ASOP terminals for a price. Looted and bricked items, once an item is looted, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. So if you do kill someone, you get to keep their stuff. Their stuff won't stay on their body anymore. Once tier 1 is in, you can freely loot players again. But they will be able to go to probably like a kiosk or something and mark it as stolen. At that point, a dead man switch is activated, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time. That is kind of dumb. So this is just T1. This is going to be the new rage-inducing thing in Tier 1. Mark my words, this will be it, because people are going to be pissed when they're randomly using a gun they stole from someone and it stops working in the middle of a battle. That's kind of crazy. If they have a dead man switch, hopefully it has like some kind of a countdown. It will change again in Tier 2, but for now, that's like a sort of temporary fix that they're going to have. Basically to make sure that the duping still doesn't run wild. Moving on, while a looted or stolen item bricked is no longer usable, you can still sell the item for credits, so it's still loot that can be sold. Hopefully it's something that can be dismantled too, via crafting. Pledge items are auto-registered and will never lose their registration status, so they can always be claimed back even if they were not manually registered. With Tier 1, you will no longer respawn with your preserved gear already equipped. You will need to visit a location such as your freight elevator to reclaim your registered items. We are developing a quality of life feature to allow you to re-equip your previous full loadout with one auto-equip button at this location. See, that's exactly what I was talking about. They're working on the ability to equip all of your stuff with one click. And for that reason, I think we should wait and let them do that before we decide whether or not it's working. Additionally, their current plan is also to remove the ability to backspace out of dangerous scenarios as a way to retain gear. Wonder what that's going to mean. So that's what they're working on right now. Still, they're just saying it's progressing. I'm betting this is at least 4 months away, 4 or 5 months away. I hope it's closer, but I don't think that Tier 1 is anywhere near coming into the game. As part of the space combat focused content, what the heck? Why am I hearing the same song twice? Don't do that. As an additional stepping stone, as part of the space combat focused content in Alpha 4.1.1, core gameplay supported design and tweaking and tuning recoil for vehicle weapons. In collaboration with SFX, VFX, and vehicle content, they made a concerted push to polish the combat experience in cockpits and turrets, and are hoping to expand this to more weapons soon. Turrets need a huge buff. Huge buff. They've gotten better over the years, but turrets need to be kind of overpowered, I think. There are differences between looted and stolen items. If you got aggroed first, you should be able to take everything off the corpse you create. You will always be able to take everything off the corpse you create, but I think it's still counted as stealing if you take somebody else's stuff. Like, I don't like to draw the real life comparison, but like if somebody punched you out in public and you knocked them out, I don't think anybody would fault you for knocking them out. I think people would be like, bro, why are you robbing him? Why are you looting his pockets? just punched you. You've seen a screenshot of a suit in a suit locker. People claim that suit lockers were working in the newest PTU patch, but I fear it's a hoax. I would not believe that until CIG says it. Maybe there's a glitch that's allowing that to happen. Could be a screenshot from an ad that they did or something, though. But if you wanted it more than the person who originally had that thing, well, then it's yours. Take it. You better take that thing if you want it. You know, just maybe you have to deal with selling it somewhere, fencing it off. As an additional stepping stone towards the new vehicle radar and scanning system, hey, radar mentioned. Let's go. Changes were made to the information available to players before a ship is scanned. The team are currently reviewing the feedback that came from this change and are looking to implement improvements that smooth out that flow. Yeah, that's when they took away the ability to see player names easily. So I think I saw in the PTU patch notes that they've decreased the amount of scanning you have to do on somebody to see their name. It used to be, so there's like, every ship has like a scanning profile. Very first percentage, you're getting the information of like what type of ship it is. Very last percentage, you're getting the names of the people on board kind of thing. So throughout that period of scanning, you get different bits of information. And at the 80% mark, they were going to give you the player's name. I believe they have reduced that to like the 10 or 20% mark now because, well, it's annoying to not be able to quickly acquire a name, or at least the name of a ship. Something like that. So they're building this out. Like, exploration as a game loop is being built out like a beach, just one grain of sand at a time. And I do think that we'll start to see some pebbles and stones here soon when they get radar and scanning into the EPTU, when they get Starkitect working, when they allow more localized missions at these locations. But for now, we're still just seeing whispers and murmurs of it behind the scenes. It's churning. It's definitely, it's cooking, and I'm excited to see it, but it still just feels as far away as ever. I mean, the beach you have to invade before you hit the forest. Man, that's a aggressive way, but yeah, they should just start simple. Would be a nice first step. Technically, they did. They started so simple that people don't even consider it exploration. These collection missions where we all had to go and find Copion, Tundra Co, that's exploration. It's just so simple and so boring that nobody really cares about it. But what is exploration? Knowing you need to find something and then finding the place where it is, acquiring it, and like selling that data or getting some money for it. That's exactly what we did. It's just incredibly basic and static. So I think we're gonna get there and get some. They just need to increase the amount of things that can be scanned and allow us to do it in FPS. And I think we're in the right direction. There'd be a way to hack your transponder to give someone else's name. Oh god, that would be so messed up. Would be nice if they implemented something without forcing people to commit mass murder to achieve anything. I just said the exploration, the Copion. I guess you do have to kill the Copion. I don't know, dude. Try the maintenance missions that they brought in. That they finally got in. It only took 6 months, 5 months from the 4.0 they were supposed to come in on. I think there are quite a few interesting things they've been doing this year that aren't combat related. But the big flashy things are definitely combat hotspots. I get that. But like the smaller scale stuff, I think people are getting some good enjoyment out of. Hopion hunting was neat, watching folks advise each other in global on how to find them. I had a pretty cool time just flying around with the crew to find them. I do wish it was a little more natural. There's not enough signs in the game yet. Hunt for the Pico Ball. Maintenance missions are in. How did I miss that? I don't know. They're on the patch notes. They are in Pyro only, yeah. I don't think they'll come to Stanton until they can update Stanton's outposts to use the new resource network. Actually, they were on the release view, I believe, for 4.1.1. But they didn't really make a big huff about them because, let's be honest, they were supposed to be in earlier. All right, continuing on. Hey, this is another fun sounding thing. Quantum interdiction is also being reworked to be more compatible with server meshing, leveraging tech developed for Alpha 4.1 to communicate across different volumes on different servers. This rework is primarily about reliability, not the mechanic itself. The core gameplay team said, "We recognize that there's an imbalance between lawful and unlawful gameplay and want to ensure players on both ends have the tools needed to contend with the other." While this is a great statement to make because many people genuinely believe that the Star Citizen developers just don't know that there's an imbalance, I don't think this is going to convince anybody that believes that they don't know that they suddenly are actually going to get it fixed. I think it's nice that they're acknowledging it, but the people need a lot of tangible action to feel like lawful gameplay is getting the same, or unlawful gameplay is getting consequences, rather. Quantum interdiction coming back, though, is kind of a point towards that, and that's what they're getting at here. Not only is this something that players can do to take out bounties and get players that they think need to be taken to the court of justice and promptly curb stomped into the ground. Obviously, pirates will also use it, but NPCs will use this. Security will use this. Many of you who've played the game for a while remember when security used this way too much for very annoying reasons. They would scan you while you were in your own hangar. They would interdict you in the middle of space. It was ridiculous, but it sounds like they're bringing it back, and I don't think it will be as bad this time, since they actually have to develop it for the real back end. It's also good to note that like these sorts of things are being specifically reworked because of server meshing, they're saying. And for years they were talking about how, I don't know if they were talking about it or we were making the excuse ourselves, but it was like, they're not updating this thing because they don't gonna want to update it. Server meshing is going to come in and then they need to update it again. So they're just kind of leaving it broken. This is a pretty good example of it. Quantum interdiction's been broken for a while, and it needing to be updated for server meshing. If it does come in and it works better, I think that's a good point towards the, I guess, good proof, good validation of the fact that was happening. All right, continuing, the recent work on control surfaces reached a major milestone, with most of the atmospheric flight model behaviors now in first pass implementation. As part of this, ships will now more accurately reflect the expected flight behavior based on lift, drag, angle of attack, and other factors. Let's go. Thrusters currently activate smoothly to compensate for different atmospheric densities. What? While hovering feels more natural. Hey, I don't know what that means, but I'm happy to hear it. So exhausted of covering control surfaces. I'm so excited for the feature, but we have been waiting for this since what's his name? Rich Towler. Rich Towler talked about this on Invictus Week Star Citizen Live in 2021. Him and John Crew talked about how they were scrapping hover mode because they wanted to make a system that depended on aerodynamics and heat. And finally, they're making a first pass on it. I really don't think this means it's close to coming into live, because this is a super in-depth feature they're probably going to do a lot of work on before we see it. But exactly, Tyrus. This is such a great thing to hear is going on. Reaching a major milestone. This is going to make VTOL thrusters matter a little bit more. It's going to make landing and taking off look better. Hovering look a little bit better. Less ships floating face down. Hell, this is going to mean less ships are going to be able to just float there looking at you on the ground and shooting you. I hope they go hard on this. I do. I know that people are really worried this is going to make flight too difficult. My response to that is we're playing a space sim, go fly in space. Or get a ship with VTOL thrusters. I think this could be a very cool part of the game, but we'll see what they decide to do. It means they took vehicle jiggle and put it on ships. I'm also seeing that they've fixed a lot of vehicle jiggles in the PTU. So that's a solid update that we've been needing. The core gameplay team fixed numerous issues related to cargo crates intersecting with each other alongside the ability to retrieve multiple vehicles from a hangar. Players now also receive a warning when their ship accumulates distortion damage. This is a very, very low-key sort of thing, but also significant. Engineering coming into the game means that E-War can start to have more effect on ship systems. We were playing against the fleet battle last weekend, I think it was, and one of our folks came in with the Vanguard Sentinel and shut down the Idris with distortion guns. It's only a matter of time before people start to realize how much of a strategy that is and how much Idris start falling out of the sky, and how much, like, there's so much strategy, guys. I can't. Oh, I'm so excited. Ah! Sorry, I know I'm supposed to be negative. The difference between shooting thrusters or shooting wings or shooting just the hull or shooting like a component with ballistics or lasers or distortions or missiles. So many choices of how to approach ship situations. And at some point, there are going to be medium to large NPC controlled ships of both lawful and unlawful origin floating around out there in space, ripe for the pickings, for us to go and take on if we're a pirate or a mercenary. And I'm just thinking of, like, I mean, I talk about Jump Ship on the podcast this week. We're really excited for that. But that's almost like Jump Ship, just in a Star Citizen environment. Getting to go out with some friends, take on a couple space adventures, pay attention to your ship and maintenance. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. So it's cool to see them talking about a warning for distortion damage. That's not a big deal, but when it's added to the addition of engineering and also what we're seeing with capital ships, I think there's some really important developments going on. Also, retrieving multiple vehicles is great. That's good too. For upcoming gameplay, medical beds now heal radiation damage. A pass was also done to ensure players receive proper visual feedback on radiation in the environment. Yay, radiation! The transit rework, internally referred to as the transport system, continued toward the first playable version for internal validation. 6 months on from 4.0, still waiting for that transit rework. I am annoyed with it, but I wait in anticipation to see if what they introduce can truly make the game good in terms of getting around and how they want the system to function. Can anybody confirm in chat, how are you guys feeling about the way that elevators and trains are functioning now as compared to, say, 5 months ago when 4.0 dropped? Do you feel like they've made tangible progress towards being more stable, or are you dealing with the same exact issues? Yeah, this would be trams, elevators, elevators and stuff like that. Thank you to whoever's putting in the bits towards the levels on Twitch chat. I do not know what that is all about, but thank you. Tram's good, more stability for sure, less falling through the floors, more unstable for you. Whoa. That's weird. You feel like they jitter much less? Zenith, you're seeing it better. Benjam, you're seeing them better. Anunzi, more stable. You haven't been thinking about them, honestly. Yeah, to be quite honest, I didn't even really notice, but over the last month or so, I kind of have not been thinking about elevators as much being problems. Feel scary sometimes, and the trams are always jumping around and teleporting. Okay. Still yank, elevators still kill you, trams still fly sideways, and sometimes don't arrive at all. Poets, it's been a while since you saw an elevator kill you or yeet you into space. And about tipses. Hoşgeldiniz. Thanks for popping in. And Robin, thank you for the 172 bits. You like trains and elevators? I like trains. Love trains. Brutus, you think it's better or not? You'll have ships getting destroyed when you try to bring them up in your hangar. That is definitely still a problem. The hangars are a problem for sure. I don't even know if those are considered part of the transport system or just their own thing, but hangar problems are thick and sticky. As someone who just started playing before Invictus this year, no problem. Okay. 0 issues for you, AAK. Yeah, the hangar elevators are just... Ugh. God. Next thing to fix, I guess. All right. The team moved the transport from push to system to serialized variables. There's that again. So I have no idea how that applies to this situation, but you can go back to the beginning of this very video and Luke Presley will explain it to you. To validate the new system, design trialed the transport system in the new Babbage habs. A lot of habs there, a lot of doors, a lot of elevators. They're currently addressing feedback and issues resulting from the test. For the Apex Valakar, core gameplay supported the character and AI teams on multiple fronts. For example, the irradiated Apex Valakar's projectiles will now spawn hazard volumes that damage the player over time. The Apex creature also spawns a molehill wherever it exits or enters the ground. I haven't even seen the thing in the game yet. I'm so glad that they finally are getting these sorts of things into the game, and we don't have to look back at 2016 in shame, or not as much shame. Still took them 9 years. But it's going to take some work. I think we'll see a lot of updates to this for its mobility system, because right now it's pretty static. We'll get there. Would you agree that ISC has been lacking in content when compared to 2-3 years ago? Yes. I actually made a video about that last month, I think, at the beginning of May. You've learned a workaround for hangar elevators to put a ship as a sacrifice. They go to your hangar, store it, and pull it up. Just one for the gods. Continuing on core gameplay. FPS radar and scanning also progressed. Radar mentioned. The devs can now specify if contracts should remain visible for extended periods after they have been first scanned, which is useful to the designers in curated situations. Additionally, they can now reduce the signature of a contact if it's considered dead. For example, dead NPCs are no longer detectable from the same distance as alive ones. I would prefer that I am less detectable when dead than alive. That's in real life. I don't want people to know when I'm dead. I mean, I do. Not actively. You know, you can hear it once. Okay? But I don't want you to be able to see through the wall that I'm like dead over there. Give me privacy. So This is just more polish. Will contacts remain visible for extended amounts of time? Do dead bodies show up further away than live bodies? Like, this is the kind of stuff that feels like buttoning up whatever it was again. Still don't remember what the heck the phrase is, but these feel very polished. Every single month, the core gameplay stuff feels very polished. And I just really, really would love for them to be like, it's going to have a go, no go meeting this month for EPTU. Please. Y'all know me. I'm a feature slut, dude. That's what I've been all about in this game since we began. I love the feature development. I love seeing where the game's going and how the features are impacting each other. So this whole content playability but not feature stuff, it's like it's like being a bottle without a top. Can't hold in the excitement, just keep throwing it up, you know? Blech. Okay, not excited anymore. Squadron 42 carryover. I mean, sure, but that's what they said 2 years ago too. I know it comes from Squadron 42 for sure. Just like, it doesn't mean much to me outside of the actual news. And combined with content, it is an interesting new way of doing things. Yeah, and it's working for them. And there are some small features being snuck in, you're right. The jump jets, the radiation, the rain. These are new features. It's the core gameplay features that I want. In the books. Quoted me. Write it down on a plaque. Put it on my grave. I'm a feature slut. As part of the upcoming patch release, a lot of feedback was received around the reliability and quality of the new comms notifications. As a result, the team is working through various improvements to ensure mission givers appear at their best. Don't awkwardly look at players. You got freaking Vaughn showing up with his collar copped, looking real mouth breathy, just staring at you. Sorry, CIG. That puts us off a little bit, okay? These NPCs acting like complete narcs when they talk to us. Somebody's showing up and their eye is halfway closed. Like, give me the mission, all right? Get yourself together on your time. In my time. And my time is money. Especially when it takes me 2 hours to get my ship. Okay? Finally, for core gameplay, the team are currently supporting an upcoming global event, including new ways to track and display player progress. Okay. We are, yeah, they were talking about a global event recently. So on top of the storylines that we're doing in the game right now, they're also going to do a global event, which is an event, not a sandbox activity. It will be something that is timed. That'll be, we'll see what they come up with for that. All right, for gameplay, the good times, the good stuff. Thanks for sticking around for that one. Let's talk about lighting. You'll be surprised to see that it is smaller than the core gameplay session. Lighting supported all recent and upcoming patch releases, including adding environmental and dynamic lighting to interactable event locations in Pyro. Okay, that's it for lighting. A good update. Locations, also very, very long. Locations worked on supporting the ongoing monthly content releases. Last month, there was a particular focus on Invictus launch week, with the devs looking forward to releases in July and August alongside updates to Wicklow. So there's a little bit of insight into how the teams are working. The locations are definitely getting work done fairly early. Actually, we don't know. Everybody could be working on their August and July releases at this point. Actually, yeah, they're definitely working on July and August releases because the June release is in testing. Yeah, it's probably the Cross Shard global event. These sandbox activities stay, but how will the lore integration work later? I don't know about that. That's an interesting one. I think they need to build them so that they don't rely on sudden lore kind of additions. Like the Hathor location. That can always be there, right? There's nothing that needs to validate that happening. This new one, they have linked it into the B story with the regen crisis, but I think even without the regen crisis, they can still just have these locations as messed up research facilities where you can go and stumble upon the messed up research they do there. They just won't say it's research being done for regen. People will kill everyone trying to gather resources because of my piracy gameplay. Lurch, I can tell you you're real upset about combat in this game right now. Hopefully they could get something that's a little less violent for you. Maybe the regen crisis might include limited respawns, or final death means 12-hour cooldown. Oh! A lot of hours. Narrative. May brought with it a flurry of activity for the narrative team. The top of the month saw them tackling bugs found in Alpha 4.1.1 PTU in preparation for the patch's full release. Simultaneously, members of the team finalized new content that will be heavily narrative focused and even feature audio recordings for players to discover. Love that. Love that. That gives me a little more of that Kovalik stuff getting into more missions. Thank you. Beyond that, dozens of new mission contracts were created for upcoming gameplay to not only provide players with critical information, but a sense of character as well. The writers also worked on scripts for new mission providers who will be making an appearance later this year. I do hope we see some more diversified missions in 4.3. They've been doing a good job of sticking to both sandbox activities and somewhat contract additions this year. Hopefully the contracts keep coming and they flesh out more of the diversity in the game. That's for you, Lurch. Finally, the team solidified the story plans for next year, taking the initial high-level outline and pulling in more details to help other teams continue with their planning. They do this in the summer. Narrative usually gets like a year ahead on this kind of stuff. Probably mostly concepting and storyboarding, not full-on writing the scripts and everything, but getting an idea of the direction things are going to go in next year. I wonder how much of that incorporates with the features that are coming in this year that will be used for next year's content. Yeah, we do need investigation missions. Online technology. In May, the network team continued work on dynamic server meshing. Oh my God. Okay, they're talking about it. They are at least mentioning dynamic server meshing by name now. I think that's only like the second time so far since 4.0 released. And I'm pretty sure both of them have been in here, right? Wasn't the other one? No, it's just regular server meshing. Pretty sure recently they mentioned dynamic somewhere else too. Oh, that was I think that was Aaron Roberts talking about some addition that was going to depend on that. This is separating the DGS assignment from its territory manager. The objective is to base territory runtime distribution on several factors, including entity and player distribution and overall shard occupancy. Subsequent work will remove territories from the equation altogether, allowing compute resources to be deployed exactly where they're needed. The Live Tools team worked on improving moderation tools to provide a better user experience for everyone. They also improved the solution that allows the publishing team to schedule in-game messages and continued to add smaller improvements to the various tools used across development. New infrastructure was deployed to better handle game crashes and errors too. Online services continued to work on the item imprint system, including the design aspects, and progressed with diffusion removal to lay the groundwork for the social refactor. Online services also continued to help fix various issues that were discovered by players alongside minor improvements to the mission system tools. I have been tracking these monthly reports over the last 12 months and will continue to do so. I basically have an open ongoing thread with ChatGPT where we summarize and analyze every monthly report, and it recognizes contextually all of the previous reports. So as I'm writing scripts and working on new content in the future, I can easily query and ask when specifically this was mentioned for this feature and get timelines of feature development. And it's these kinds of little mentions here. Diffusion removal to lay the groundwork for the social refactor. I'm going to go back when we get the social refactor and be like, how long ago were they doing the groundwork for this? I wish they were doing the groundwork for this back when we saw the social refactors at CitizenCon. Because I do think that that social refactor will help a lot with the problems people have with the way the game works right now too. Exploration feature when, DePoets? We just need to be able to save locations. That's it. That's all we need. Showed it to us at CitizenCon 2023. Please add it to the game. All right, continuing on in the UI segment. In May, the team on the UI completed the UI for an upcoming event. That's probably the global event. Creating various screens to support the narrative and gameplay. Once completed, the design teams kicked off plans for the next one. Okay, dude, I really hope they don't actually mean the 4.2 release as the event. You can't refer to it as an event when, I mean, hell, your own people in ISC are saying it's not an event. It's not an event. Don't call it an event. I hope that's the global event they're talking about. The new Mirai UI was also finished with the team kept quiet until the launch of the Guardian MX. Glad there's another customized UI in the game. Mirai uses vibrant colors and dynamic shapes, which are great fun to work on and mark an interesting departure from the retro sci-fi look of our other styles, like Drake and Aegis. Does look good. Looks unique. It's got the colors. The new layout and shapes were a challenge to implement with the existing setup, so the team assessed the problems and rewrote the UI core to make it easier to create more interesting styles in the future. Elsewhere, performance improvements continued with the team investigating spreading UI processing across multiple cores. Visual prototypes were also worked on for some interesting but currently confidential 3D interactive UIs to replace one of the older systems in the game. Interesting but currently confidential 3D interactive UIs to replace one of the older systems. What could that system? Quantum travel? I do feel like, ooh, scanning and radar. I bet that's what they're talking about there. They've been doing work on that, and there's definitely going to be 3D elements in the scanning situation now, but maybe not. Maybe this is it could be a lot of things. Inventory, scanning, hollow globe. This literally could be for the hologlobes and the capital ships, but I think that's still farther away. I don't know. I hope it's scanning and radar. Hopefully. That wraps up our monthly report though, folks. Now, like I said, we're gonna go on and do ships now. We've got our entire ship list. So we'll go over everything and see what we can update. But I wanted to wait until doing that ourselves because that's gonna take some work. Landing UI, I would hope, but there's nothing for the landing UI right now for it to replace. The only reason I was thinking hologlobe is because they have like a representative hologlobe in there, but you are right. It doesn't actually exist, so maybe not. All right, y'all. I think these are still great monthly reports. These reports are really the last vestige of CIG's old open development doctrine. They're still very open about stuff. They still talk about a lot of stuff, but they hide so much more now than, I mean, we don't know most of what goes on anymore. Even back when they used to share everything with us, I still felt like there was quite a bit of stuff that they wouldn't tell us about. But now I don't believe we're hearing about more than like 15% of what's going on any given week. Monthly reports, I think, are the best look into that kind of stuff, but Star Citizen Live, Inside Star Citizen don't really deliver that too much anymore. Spectrum does, but it's mainly about the stuff that's ongoing, not about the stuff that's coming up later. Roadmap, obviously, doesn't get updated past essentially the same month. Like, we're not even seeing the next quarter anymore, or the next 2 months. We see 1 month. And the things that we see for that 1 month are generally things that we've already started experiencing in the PTU by that point. So when it comes to Star Citizen content, I am going to go ahead and say that the monthly reports are the best thing they put out now. And especially because everything that's happening in Star Citizen right now, these are just automatically more interesting than they used to be. I mean, this whole core gameplay section didn't used to exist because there wasn't enough core gameplay development going on. So I'm glad where they've taken these. I really hope we never lose these. And well, I hope you guys learned something new in this one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next. Y'all ready to talk about ships though? Surprises are nice. I do agree with that. I think there's a fine line. There's a balance of revealing enough to keep the hype up and keep people interested and informed, but also not spoil everything for everybody else. Chips time! Herbal Extract, I love that that's your first chat. It's time for the ships. All right, we've already done our monthly report. All the good stuff that's been going on behind the scenes at CIG, including our favorite core gameplay update, which will be on the main channel as well. We just went over that, so check it out if you haven't already on Space Tomato 2. But we are now on to ships, and we've got a lot to go over here. So we already have 21 ships that we know about from the last few monthly reports that we have been tracking the progress of. Let's go ahead and update some of these right now before we get started. So the Star Lancer TAC has been released. Should probably create a new tag for that. And I guess we'll just move all the released to the bottom. And actually, I should probably just delete these. Can I just like archive you down there? Oh. I did not mean to do that. Let's just add like 10 more rows for now. And then we will put this guy down here. Asgard released. Last update released May 2025. I liked it. I still like it. I'm calling this a variant. I'm gonna stick with it. It's basically a variant. Yes, released last update. Released May 2025. Put that one down at the bottom. Greycat MTC, new model, also released. Again, released May of 2025. Guardian MX, also released. Variant. Released May 2025. Dark mode. Do they have that on here? Can I do that? Is that actually a thing? I don't actually see a dark mode. Let me know if that's a thing though. Next week, Alien Week, they push this one. No, it should be next week. It should be on the 15th. Jay Bird! What's up, man? Okay, anything else here? No. All the rest of this is stuff we don't know about. Okay.
Shall we, my friends, figure out?
We match some speculation and do some guesswork. As usual, May was extremely busy. May was extremely busy for the vehicle content teams as they supported new releases, progressed with upcoming vehicles, and kicked off projects for the next year or so. They have never been more productive when it comes to ships. They used to release a bunch of concepts. Now they're just releasing ships and vehicles. Oof. Try the settings. I will check those out when we get back up there. In Europe, 4 unannounced ships progressed. Count them, 4. And do we have 4 on here? We do! So all 4 of these unannounced ships progressed. First one officially entered production. Okay. Well, that's weird. Because all of the unannounced ships we know about were already in production. This one passed gray box. This one entered full production in April. This one is at gray box review. This one at white box review. So that means we have a new unannounced ship. Which we're going to assume is a new model. Don't have a role for it. It officially entered production. Does that make it concept? I'm going to call it white box. I think they would have called that concept. Don't know when this would release. I would say have to as well. Officially entered production May of 2025. Last update May of 2025. First mention May of 2025. Confidence low. It's a browser extension. Okay, so the second vehicle progressed towards its upcoming white box review gate. Okay, so something progressed towards white box review. This one was progressing towards gray box. This one hit white box review in April, in April. And this is a variant, and it passed gray box review in March. Progressing towards full production in April. This could be the second one that they're saying met its white box review. Why don't we progressing towards white box review in May. This is part of the problem with tracking them like this, is that at some point I will get something wrong on one of the items and it'll just snowball into confusion. But we're gonna keep this update as a last update here. First mention was, I believe, in April. And our confidence on this one is also low because we don't know if it's the same unannounced ship that they were talking about back then. And we'll call this a new model, because why not? The third continued down the production pipeline, with the artists currently awaiting feedback from the Lot Zero review. Okay. So LOD 0, which means it's pretty far along. This variant did pass its gray box in March, so it could be that. This one was approaching gray box in March. See, now this could be in the final art section. I might actually need to add LOD 0 after white box. White box, LOD 0, gray box. LOD 0 is part of the gray box, so I should have had this already in the gray box. Let's keep it there. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is the same ship. It might not be, so take this with a grain of salt. So let's say LOD 0 in May. And LOD 0 review in May, yeah. Isn't final art after LOD 0? Yeah. LOD 0 comes at like the end of the gray box phase, I believe. No, this isn't public. This is what I use to personally track this stuff. Fourth ship. The fourth received a considerable attention during its white box phase, particularly around the cockpit entry requirements, as it will receive entirely new enter and exit animations, something rarely done to this level. Well, what the heck could that be? Received considerable attention during its white box phase. They do not tell us where it actually is in its phase. Could it be this one? I feel like they're kind of trying to say that it was in white box in May. Doesn't really correlate though with any of these. It's confusing the way they've said this. It received considerable attention during its white box phase. But we don't know if that was already over or if it's still in white box. I could see it being the Raylan, yeah. I would be kind of surprised to hear that they're working on the Raylan. Yeah, no, this wouldn't be the Raylan because this is an unannounced ship. So something else. Considerable attention during its white box phase. Man, that's hard, guys. I guess we can just assume it's this one. I mean, more low confidence guesses at this point. Considerable attention to white box in May 2025. Oh, they're way faster with ships this year. They got set back a couple of years ago on their ship team. They expanded a lot over the last couple of years. All right, for already announced ships, the Anvil Paladin progressed through gray box, benefiting from the recent work on the Asgard to help speed up its creation. Good to know. That's easy enough to do. We know what the Paladin is. It was in the white box last we saw. Whoop. In Q1 of 2020. Oh, sorry. In December of 2024, the last update we got, putting it in the white box. So they've moved it on to gray box now. I'm still thinking it's, you know what? I'm kind of thinking this is more an end of year this year kind of ship. I'm going to switch this to Q4 2025. Cool boy. Benefited from Asgard in gray box phase in May 5. Confidence on this one is very high for obvious reasons. They literally tell us the name. And the most recent update is May. Paladin will punch a bunch above its weight class. It'll also beat the Carrack, of course. I love the Paladin. It's a cool looking ship. Next up is the Consolidated Outland Pioneer. It's hard not to be floored by this ship when you look at the sheer amount of things it can do in this game. Okay, see now look, continued its long and extensive white box phase. They themselves said the sheer scale and complexity of the ship means this is a longer than normal phase. Let's just take another opportunity to take a hefty little look at the Pioneer and the kind of things they are proposing for it.
Seats, it's got a hangar.
Right, that's very loud. So the Pioneer is a base building ship. Here's the layout of it.
The updated interior of the Pioneer. So at the back of the ship, we have the classic bridge, looks out over the expanse of the ship. And then top and bottom of that in this image, we have the escape pod rooms. And then leading off those is the access to the manned turrets that remain. Then going downstairs, we have the cargo area at the top. Doesn't look like a lot. That's 1,000 SEU of cargo now in that space.
God. Just having that much cargo is fantastic.
Next to that is the fabrication control room. This is where you'll be controlling fabricating larger vehicles and ships, as well as smaller fabrication machines next door for. You don't want to use this to build a small FPS weapon. It's a bit overkill, so we have that on board as well. In the center of the ship, we have a small fabrication hangar with roof and ramp egress. So if you're building a small ship on board, so things like a Nomad, you can build on board here. You'll be able to fly out the roof of the...
It's like, take that into account. You can literally build spaceships with this spaceship.
Fabrication hangar. And then we have the existing small landing pad that transitions from outside the ship to inside the ship. So cargo you can load via new entrance that Ben's going to talk about in a second, but you can still retain the ability to land a ship on top of this ship, move it inside your ship, all those things. Engineering at the rear, this is now capital components all the way around. It was a weird mix of size 3s before, it's now just all capital everything. Then we have the habitation, mess hall, medical area between the hangar and engineering. And then at the front, we have 4 extra large drones in the drone room.
So base building, crafting, cargo hauling, vehicle hauling. This thing can also mine. It can do mining from the bottom of the ship itself. It's got defense turrets. It can build bases like... Ugh. And I mean, yeah, it's like a base on its own.
Or command deck, bridge, whatever you want to call it. It gives kind of really nice views out.
Sorry guys, as I mentioned, my computer can't really run this kind of stuff right now. Thanks to chat though, we're gonna make sure that's remedied pretty quickly. Thank you guys.
Ship. And right up front, you've got all the consoles required that you need to kind of control the ship, as well as the kind of additional remote turret access consoles. And then at the rear, we have the main kind of navigation components and some small engineering consoles. And kind of flanking either side, we've got these 2 corridors, and they lead out to the manned turrets that kind of sit above the bridge. And they also have all the escape pods needed for all the bridge crew. Like I say, we want this to kind of be a home away from home. So we have a very large, comfortable habitation area. Each of the crew members, they get their own individual crew pod. And one of the nice things about this is these actually open up and they allow kind of each crew member to kind of decide like how much privacy they actually want.
Jesus, that just reminds me of the prison from Andor.
This is the crafting area. We've got the 4 kind of crafting machines. And these are right next to the cargo bay, the internal cargo bay. And as John says, this holds up to 1,000 SEU of cargo, so it's pretty sizable. To make it a little bit easier, it's got its own dedicated cargo lift at the back. That again, just simplifies that kind of getting cargo in and out of the vehicle. down at the front, we have the drone room. Now these will be 4 extra large drones, so they'll be able to craft our largest structures in game. They exit the ship out through the roof, and they're all controlled by the construction console in this area. And finally, we're just going to take a quick look at the crafting area on the ship. So you can see here we've got these blast shields down that kind of protect the crew in this area from what's going on inside. And then as these open up, we just finished making a storm. And as we see, there's a ramp that leads out, so you can drive any ground vehicles straight out the front. Between all the landing gear, and you get this really nice kind of like sense of scale as you're driving underneath out the front of the ship.
Just straight up making vehicles, no biggie. Yeah, you could get this if you wanted to have all the best stuff, but this is just going to be a huge target on your back. Like, if I were a pirate, I'd be going after pioneers. This is going to be so much to steal from this, you know? Or you could just take it and use it yourself. The CNOU ships are cool. They said back in the day when they were first working on making these ships, one of the things they really wanted to do was make sure they look like space stations. The large CNOU ships are supposed to look like space stations on their own. So it's cool to see that they're hitting that pretty well. And even just from how they're talking about it, there's so much going on here. The design of it is so much different than they're usually doing that it seems they have to take some additional considerations. Any reason you couldn't park it in the middle of nowhere and make everything in relative peace? No. No reason. Yeah, my computer is rough. Sorry, y'all. I don't have any of the old concepts. They had some really cool concepts that they used to show of the Pioneer. But yeah, this is a base building ship. Honestly, one of the cornerstones of the game. I think it's going to be a while before we see it, but it is working its slow way through the white box phase. And let me see, where did we have that? Pioneer white box. I have it expected to release at the end of next year. The ship thick. Extra long white box process. Still continuing in May 2025. Last update was May 2025. Confidence is high. First mention October 21st or 2017. Okay. You know what? I guess I can add Lot 0 in here. Since they do seem to specify it more. They used to not do that so much. There we go. Okay. Continuing from the Pioneer. After a short pause to help close out Invictus ships, work resumed on the Ironclad with a focus on blocking out every room with the appropriate Drake kits. Let's hear one out for like the most beloved ship right now that the Perseus and Idris are in the game. An old concept? Oh, I missed that.
It's part 2 of our Invictus Launch Week coverage as we look beyond the event to the new offering being unveiled at this year's Drake DefenseCon, the far superior brand excluded from the usual Invictus festivities. Let's force John Crew to talk about it now.
So in the Star Citizen universe, we have a lot of cargo ships, but they're sort of concentrated around the lower end of cargo hauling, sort of the low hundreds, SU and below, and the very high end where there's multi-thousands. There's a mix mix of cargo ships which have their cargo on the inside, ones on the outside like the Hull series.
Is it possible that my RAM not doing well is making my CPU do worse? Because I do think that I'm experiencing CPU problems, but my CPU is fine. Like it's just my RAM that's low. Oh yeah, I'm at 85% memory usage right now. And it's really bad RAM. Yeah, RAM will limit the CPU. Okay. Oh yeah, guys, so I don't have the RAM that I need. I literally found an extra stick lying around in the house. We don't have any here. And so I just threw in like a 16 gigabyte single stick of 2133 megahertz RAM from like 6 years ago. It's not ideal. We've had a couple of tech problems this week. We don't have RAM, and our beloved 1080 Ti GPU has died. So you want a little bit of a rebuild, but honestly, besides those two, things are going great for the PCs. Yeah, kind of crazy that like I'm not even doing anything except for streaming, I guess.
To bring something different where it sort of sits right in the middle. It's a nice progression step and facilitates both internal and external loading of cargo, which is where the Drake Ironclad comes in.
Oh, the other RAM, it was like 3600, 48 gigabytes, I believe. That's back in California though. Because I'm dumb. Here we are.
So the Drake Ironclad is the kind of next step up for Drake cargo ships. It kind of builds on what the Caterpillar brings, but in a much larger form.
The Drake Ironclad is a 6-person multi-crew armored freighter.
6-person, folks. Don't be mad if it's not the best for solo run. Although you can definitely still solo run a ship like this. It won't be super efficient. I don't know what that means, but whoever on Twitch just got us to level 1 with the 55 bits, thank you. And Maverick with the 23. Appreciate you, dude. I'll turn down YouTube
Large
quality.
Proportion of the ship is dedicated to the cargo bay at the front of it, which has both a front ramp for loading and unloading cargo and small vehicles on the ground, as well as a retractable roof for doing that in space with EVA as well.
Little tight entrances to cargo ships doesn't necessarily lend itself to when you're out in deep space and you're trying to quickly move some cargo from one person's ship into your ship. Really, you want as much kind of access to be able to do that as you possibly can. So by having this kind of much larger opening on top of the ship, it allows us to kind of bring cargo in much easier.
So its role being a sort of armoured freighter comes from two distinct ways. One, the cargo itself is more protected. It's within the cargo bay that has the armoured roof section that covers it. So unlike, say, a Hull C where the cargo's on the outside, you can load it from the outside but then protect it with the Ironclad.
That is a pretty nice benefit. And that's kind of like earlier when I was talking about how I love choice and consequence and how they're going to like stick it to you if you choose the wrong ship for sorts of things. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I want to be in a situation where I'm going to haul cargo and think to myself, man, I'm going to be in a pretty dangerous situation. I want in and out fast in space. Let's take an Ironclad because it has that extra opening, as opposed to a Galaxy that has a closed cargo bay. Or let's take the Ironclad because we're going to be flying through Pyro. We'll probably get attacked, and the Hull C is going to be easy to shoot off the cargo. But then you're like, okay, but the Ironclad doesn't have VTOL, so we're going to a planet. Maybe we don't want something like that, and we prefer something with some VTOL thrusters. And like that thought process, decision making is kind of why I'm into Star Citizen. Hopefully they stick to it.
Less legal opportunities for perhaps taking other people's cargo ships in space and on the ground. At the time of recording, we're also exploring a more military-themed variant of the Ironclad. Doesn't have the name yet, so we'll just call it the Drake
Ironclad Assault.
Compared to the base ship,
that is what they called it.
This has been developed to support ground assault operations. It has additional turrets covering the upper and lower surfaces to provide more fire support, And the front section of the cargo area has been redesigned to enable our largest vehicles in-game to be deployed from it, such as the tank. In addition, the cargo bay has been reduced in size to facilitate an onboard repair facility. So for those of you who want to have a journey in the cargo profession, traditionally you would start out in something, say like a Hull A. The next step up from there really is sort of into Drake Caterpillar territory. So you're doing roughly an 8 to 10 times jump in cargo capacity. From there, the Ironclad sits nicely between those smaller ships and the much larger bulk carriers such as the Hull C, and then ultimately you get to things like the Hull D, E, and Kraken at the end of the cargo career.
You said Kraken.
You said Kraken.
Yes.
Was that a hint at anything?
It's not a hint at anything, but making the Ironclad makes the Kraken easier.
So building out the Ironclad does, of course, kind of help us with building out the Kraken. I think increasing...
All right, let me correct myself real quick, because somebody did mention that it might have VTOL. Let us confirm. Secure storage garage, cargo bay command. Thrusters, main thruster, retro, fixed maneuvering. I'm not seeing anything about VTOL. Maybe though. But that's the Ironclad. Interesting ship. I think people are going to be real into this one. I mean, people already are real into this, but cargo hauling's fun. Industrial ships look cool. And Drake is Drake. So this will be a popular one, a big seller. I think it is due for the end of this year. And I think it is going to be an absolute massive moneymaker for them. This is going to be, even with engineering and multi-crew complications coming online, I just think that the Ironclad is another one of those ships people see as being their home base out in space. So what did they say about it? Focus is blocking out every room with appropriate Drake kits. Okay. Just blocking out rooms. Can put that on there. Oh boy, the people love the ship but know it's not coming for Invictus. Yeah, this basically confirms it's not coming in Invictus, just in case anybody still was hoping for that one. Most recent update, May of 2025. Just blocking out rooms. Confidence is high. Okay. Continuing on with the Garden MX Live, the North American teams moved on to closing out an upcoming variant for its impending release, with the ship successfully passing its final review. An upcoming variant final review. White box. Release imminent. Possible RSI leak ship. Okay. This is probably it right here. So we saw this update in April 2025. We're seeing it updated here in May of 2025. For some reason, I put expected release June of 26. I think I meant June of 2025. So I wasn't actually that far off, folks. What do you think? You think this is the Prowler? Ironclad has integrated VTOL thrusters underneath. Okay, cool. So it does have VTOL. So yeah, impending release. Ship successfully passed final review. We've got this already listed as release imminent. Passed final review. Did they say it's... I wonder, is this... I don't think this is the variant of a popular ship they were talking about. No, that's this one right here. So this might be an unpopular ship. Let's say this is likely the Asperia Prowler variant. We'll put confidence at fairly high. Maybe a scout. Additionally, another unannounced vehicle passed its white box review following minor adjustments to one of its key mechanics. Okay, another unannounced ship passed its white box review. Dude, what? This progressed towards white box review in May. So this must be another unannounced ship. Refining ship. Maybe a refining ship. It is unannounced, so it wouldn't be the Legionnaire. And what did they say? Passed its white box review? Yeah, passed its white box review. So we're going to say it's in gray box now. Passed white box review in May with attention to specific mechanic. What mechanic might that be? We have no idea. First mention is going to be May of 2025. Medium confidence. Last update's May of 2025. Expected release, honestly, I'm thinking Q3 if it's passing its white box review, but we don't know anything about it really. I'll leave that blank for now. Finally, the Apollo Medivac and Triage passed their gray box reviews. Let's go, Apollo. Woo! RSI Apollo moving up the track. Past gray box, right? Past their gray box reviews with a focus on ensuring each medbed module tier is distinct without being disruptively different to use. Hopefully they give us an update on the bed soon. All right, so along with a medical bed update, or medical bed detailed overlook or something. Last update we got was December 2024. Let's update this to June, I guess, technically. Medium level confidence. I'm not convinced it's going to release this year. I'm going to make this Q1 of 26 to save myself the pain and you. And it should be in Lot 0 now. All right, and finally, the RSI Perseus continued through Greybox, ready for its gate review early this month. So it's still in Greybox, as we have new model, patrol boat. Expected release November. I'm thinking November. Guys, this is all throwing me off. All right. All new ship. Okay, this is the one we saw last. Perseus updated. Not much to say other than pew pew. Last update May. Ooh, when was the Perseus revealed? (2020). November of 2020. And I feel like I got high confidence on that one. And for those who don't remember the Perseus, pretty cool ship. Little patrol boat, battleship, sort of support for larger ships, but it's got some big guns on it that are going to do good damage to medium and larger craft. So I'm interested in seeing how this one plays out. Feels like it'll be a better group ship for mercenary missions than something like a Polaris or Nagus, which are a little bit bigger. But yeah, a solid ship update, guys. We got to hear about the Ironclad, the Paladin, the Apollo, the Perseus, the Pioneer, as well as 5 different unannounced ships, 6 I think, and a new variant that's being worked on. Solid amount of updates this month. Of course, a couple of ships got released. Overall, their ship pipeline is killing it right now. Hopefully, we see the features also follow suit. Rebin Swatch, oh, thank you for the bits. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Really appreciate you, man. You guys blew it out of the park today supporting. I thank you so much. Undoubtedly, this stream will be better on Monday. We will get the RAM, I promise you, and we will get it. I will get it into this computer, and we'll get booted up and back on normal coverage and stuff. I'll be able to play the game on Wednesday. Thank you for making that happen, guys. And also, thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you got some entertainment. It was a long one, but we got through the monthly report and the ships. I will be back with you, not on Monday. We have things going on Monday. I will be back with you on Tuesday, most likely. Probably not Tuesday because I'm doing Captain's Table. Crap. I will figure out when I'm going to be back with you guys, and we will do our normal Monday stream, getting some things together, making some things happen. But yeah. Can I check the shop teas before we go? All right. Will do. Got to figure out a shop teas. What do you mean? Oh, the ship teaser? I don't even know where they released those, to be honest. Where do they put those out? On the socials. Robert. Toes, toes, toes. Toes. Oh, they didn't put it on here. Robert Space Industries. I don't know what they're... Hard to find that like continuity between their different social media. Carter, no problem, friend. Hope you've been enjoying your time. I don't see a sneak peek. Is it just a picture of the Prowler variant? This one? Or were you talking about the newer one? I think they're both of the Prowler variant. This is probably the variant that they've been talking about. This one right here. Release imminent. I got a Prowler cinematic if you guys want to check it out. Really proud of this one. Actually, one of my favorite videos that I got to put together back when I did cinematic stuff a lot more. I will play you guys out to this video. I hope you all enjoyed the stream today, learned something, got to have some fun, talk some crap, you know, say something, get your feelings out. Okay, I just realized I'm not even going to be able to play this for you guys because it's all messed up. I'm gonna drop the link in here though if you guys want to go check it out, because it's really nice. I love it. Well, it looks good when it's running well, but yeah, don't underestimate your RAM, folks. Make sure you got memory and a graphics card, CPU, and all the things that a computer needs. And keep treating your computer as well. I'm gonna send you all over to Paul. Go give him a raid, drop the toes in chat on YouTube if you are on YouTube, or on Twitch, sorry. And let him know where you came from. Tell him hi, tell him toes, tell him gang. Thank you again, everybody who supported the stream. Absolutely off the wall today. I don't even know how to thank you guys, but we will make more good content. I think that's the best I can do. Anyways, thanks again for being here, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful time. Treat yourselves well today. Go eat something you love. Give somebody a hug that you love. Make the most of your day. Have a good time. Treat yourselves well. You deserve it. You're good people. And good people should have some good things. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later, gang. See you in the toes.